Okay, this is Chris Busby. This is the Science Academy where I've got an office, and I'm going there with Sean to talk about the latest developments in the test veteran case in the United Kingdom. There's very important developments which might result in something happening to me, so I want to say a few words about that.
Well, I'm here today with Professor Chris Busby, and we're just going to discuss some upcoming developments in the British nuclear test veterans case. Chris, can you give us an update, please?
Okay, well, we're sitting here on the 15th floor of the Science Academy. This is Riga, spread out beneath us here. I want to say a few words about some developments in the nuclear test veteran case, and also in another case I have out against the Ministry of Defence, which is a submarine crew member on a nuclear submarine who died of non-Hodgkin lymphoma. So I've got two cases out against the Ministry of Defence, and they are now in a position where they're finding it very difficult to win, to oppose what it is that we're doing. And that's what worries me a bit, because the most dangerous animal is the animal that is cornered or wounded. And I just want to briefly say that if I get found having committed suicide or in some strange situation where I'm dead, you can assume that somebody's killed me, because I'm quite happy. I don't have any intention of killing myself. I'm enjoying myself, really, you know. And what I'm doing against the Ministry of Defence is basically winning. And this is an enormously important case, as they have actually stated in their letter to the judge. So here's the two cases. The one important case is a case in Scotland for this, as I said, this submarine crew member who died of non-Hodgkin lymphoma, and the widow tried to obtain a pension, of course, war pension, and the Ministry of Defence refused because they said that he couldn't have been exposed to radiation and so forth. And one of the things they said was that non-Hodgkin lymphoma is not caused by radiation. Now, at the time that I was helping, long ago, some years ago, I started this case, and I wrote a report for the widow in which I showed that non-Hodgkin lymphoma was caused by radiation. There's a huge scientific literature showing that that's the case. So the Ministry of Defence is saying that it's not caused by ionising radiation, it can't be, and the literature shows that it can be. Anyway, the point is that in the case, when it was heard, the original case was heard, the tribunal judges said that they weren't allowed to look at my data because I'd been excluded by the British government as an expert witness. This happened in 2014 when a case was brought against me in the High Court in London to have me excluded as an expert witness. Now, what the Scottish judge has now done is he said that we can appeal this decision in the Scottish court, and he's sent 7 questions to the Ministry of Defence that they have to answer about whether it's fair to exclude evidence and a whole load of other things relating to my evidence. Because at last we found a judge that realised that actually if you exclude evidence from a case, it's a bit like the Soviet Union. You know, you can win the case because there's no evidence there, because you excluded it. And that can hardly be just. However, that's put the British Ministry of Defence on the back foot, and they're freaking out. They have 1 month now to respond to this and to answer the 7 questions, and then I have a month to respond to their response. Then it goes to court in Scotland. But they have to bring their evidence now again under Scottish law, which is not the same as English law. So although they managed to exclude me as a witness as an expert under English law, because they said I was biased, My bias being that I believe ionizing radiation kills people. That's my bias. Okay. They now have to prove that under Scots law, which is not quite the same thing. So that's the first case. Second case is a test veteran, carried over from the test veteran cases that happened in 2016, where I was a representative for two of them. And in this case, I've brought two very eminent experts in as experts, and I'm acting as the representative of a veteran who died from pancreatic cancer. And the Ministry of Defence have brought in an expert called Dr. Braidwood, who is all they have left, because nobody else will stand up on their hind legs and be cross-examined by me. So they brought in Anne Braidwood, who wrote a report. But unfortunately for them, in the 2013 case, this same Anne Braidwood admitted under oath that she wasn't an expert on anything. So I've written to the judge saying that you can hardly allow the Ministry of Defence to use this woman as an expert when she herself says she isn't one. So that also is hanging in the air too. So in other words, they've got two pistols pointing at their head, and that worries me slightly, because it seems to me the only way out of it is to get me. And it's not as if this is some kind of fantasy, because I was arrested for no good reason in September and put into handcuffs and thrown in a cell on a completely trumped-up charge about manufacturing explosives, for which there was no evidence whatever. And the police broke into my house without a warrant, and they carried out all sorts of actions which were strictly illegal. So we know the world that we're living in now is not one that that is honest and just and secure. And I'm just saying, in this little short video, that if you find me like David Kelly, sitting up against a tree with my wrists cut and a suicide note saying, I can't take it anymore, don't believe it, because I can take a great deal, and I'm quite happy and I'm okay. And this is a beautiful town. Have a look at this town spread out beneath us, and that lovely church, that Orthodox church down there. And the snow is falling gently, and the world is a beautiful place that's being destroyed by some evil people. And I'm going to stand up and fight them, because somebody has to. Thank you for listening.
Well done, Chris.